Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to Sinunet, China's Ministry of Commerce announced on Wednesday that it implements export controls on rare earths and other critical minerals in accordance with existing laws and regulations. The ministry stated that it reviews all license applications that are compliant and intended for civilian use. This statement came from an official with the ministry, who was elaborating on the preliminary outcomes of recent China-U.S. economic and trade consultations, and served as a response to recent U.S. statements concerning critical minerals. The official further added that China is prepared to collaborate with the United States to create favorable conditions that promote mutually beneficial cooperation between businesses of both nations, aiming to ensure the security and stable operation of global industrial and supply chains. Vanuatu's Prime Minister Jotham Naphat has announced that his cabinet has approved a new strategic cooperation pact with China, alongside a revised Nakamul agreement with Australia. Naphat voiced frustration, suggesting that both China and Australia are undermining Vanuatu's sovereignty in their broader geopolitical competition for influence in the region. He emphasized Vanuatu's commitment to neutrality, stating the nation seeks to be friends to all and enemies to none. The pact with China, details of which remain scarce, is described as focusing on cooperation with assurances it has no security implications. The amended Nakamul agreement with Australia, which Naphat indicated was significantly stripped back from its initial version that would have required Vanuatu to seek Australian approval on critical infrastructure, now reportedly contains only one clause related to security. This revision aims to uphold Vanuatu's sovereignty and prevent external interference in its decision-making processes. Naphat indicated that the Nakamul agreement is ready for signing. The Australian government, while committed to finalizing the agreement, stressed its approach as equal partners respecting Vanuatu's sovereignty. China's Ministry of Commerce announced on Wednesday that the country will purchase 200 Boeing aircraft, a decision driven by its air transport development needs and based on commercial principles. As part of the agreement, the United States has committed to guaranteeing China a sufficient supply of engines and spare parts. This announcement comes as a preliminary outcome of recent China-U.S. economic and trade consultations, as reported by Xinhua. Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Sugiono announced that Indonesia is actively coordinating with its diplomatic missions in the Middle East and with partner nations whose citizens were also involved in the global Sumud Flotilla, GSF, that was intercepted by Israel. The primary concern is ensuring the safety and well-being of Indonesian nationals who have been detained by Israeli forces following the interception earlier this week. Minister Sugiono stated that intensive coordination is underway, with assistance being sought from countries whose citizens are facing similar circumstances, as well as from Jordan and Turkey. He explained that due to Indonesia's lack of diplomatic relations with Israel, mediation through partner nations with direct access is crucial for obtaining information and facilitating consular assistance. The minister acknowledged that the information received so far is limited due to communication constraints. He also commended the spirit of the Indonesian participants and global volunteers in the GSF, recognizing their commitment to supporting Palestinians facing oppression. The Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed that all 9 Indonesian nationals on the GSF humanitarian mission have been detained by Israeli forces, including 3 journalists. Indonesia strongly condemns Israel's actions and emphasizes the need for Israel to ensure the unimpeded delivery of humanitarian aid to the Palestinian people in accordance with international humanitarian law. This news was reported by Antara. According to Al Jazeera, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin held talks in Beijing on Wednesday. just days after U.S. President Donald Trump's official visit to China, President Xi welcomed Putin outside the Great Hall of the People, where they shook hands and stood as a military band played their national anthems. Putin emphasized the strong, positive momentum in cooperation between Russia and China, despite unfavorable external factors. Al Jazeera's Katrina Yu reported from Beijing that Putin's visit, marking 25 years of Sino-Russian friendship, aims to deepen existing coordination, given his numerous previous meetings with Xi. Discussions are expected to cover the situation in the Middle East, Ukraine, and the specifics of Trump's recent conversations with Xi. Putin is accompanied by a large delegation, and approximately 40 agreements covering economy, tourism, and education are anticipated. A key agenda item for Putin is energy security, as Russia urgently needs to replace gas revenues lost from European sales since the Ukraine war. Now, in its 5th year, Putin reiterated in a video address that Beijing and Moscow are prepared to cooperate on core interests, including sovereignty and national unity, and that their close and strategic connection plays a stabilizing role globally, working for the cause of peace and universal prosperity, rather than aligning against anyone. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.